Welcome back, Smart Nation, to another edition of our weekly webinar series. I am your host, Michael Torado. In this edition, we will continue on the topic of pawn loans outstanding, and we'll recap everything that we've learned from our PLO rallies and these PLO webinars. Healthy PLO growth is what we are looking for because PLO is the lifeline of our business. So why do we put so much emphasis and focus on PLO? Because PLO equals PSC, our pawn service charges. 60% of our net revenue comes from these pawn service charges. So let's recap the loan cycle, remembering that it's a win-win proposition for us. A new loan dollar gets written and that new dollar gets put on our books. Remember, 70% of all loans are paid on. Your customer now has two options, to either redeem the loan or, the best case scenario, customer extends or renews the loans every 30 days. Worst case scenario, customer forfeits on the item, and now you have an item that you can sell for sales gross profit. Do you remember our pool analogy? The goal is to keep the pool full of water, in this case active loans. The water inside this pool represents all of our active loans, our PLO. Remember that there are three forms of outflow from our pool: drops, redemptions, and your qualification. We want to increase and always keep the pool full of water and outrun our negative delta with more fresh water. Do you know what the goal is? That's right, the goal is to keep the pool full of water. The water hose is our only source to add more water. Without it, the pool goes dry. So there are three key components that impact your PLO growth. These three components determine whether your PLO is growing or declining. You take your new loans and subtract your drops and your redemptions, and that gives you your PLO delta. We have concluded that the best pawnbroker do these 5 things with flawless execution. Number 1, building long-lasting relationships. Number 2, knowing and executing their loan standards. Number 3, never deviating from the proposition. How much do you want to sell it for? Number 4, always executing NEHA. NEHA stands for needs, emotional attachment, history, and ability to repay. And number 5, they make every interaction count. So the way that we build relationships with customers on the loan side is the same as our relationship selling process. This is the same process by which we work with every customer, whether they're buying, selling, or getting a loan. Service counts. Focus on the customer's needs. So without looking, who can say our loan standards really fast? First, let's start off with the greeting. Greet the customer within 5 seconds or 5 steps. Second, qualify the customer using probing questions. 3, test and have the customer test the merchandise. 4, explain the contract, charges, and circle the due date. Number 5, attempt to renew or extend during every redemption. And number 6, always thank the customer, offer more money, and always give a loan guarantee card. So who can recite the loan proposition for me? It's the first qualifying question that must be asked verbatim. How much do you want to sell it for? It's a direct question that requires a direct answer. Let's revisit and explore our loan standards. Qualify. Always use probing questions. Number 1, qualify your customer, not the merchandise. Get to know your customer first. How much do you want to sell it for should always be the first qualifying question. Number 2, don't prejudge your customers. Don't base your opinion on the way the customer looks, their age, their attitude. Watch and listen for signals. Number 3, take advantage of new customers. No history is great history. This could be your next great customer. And number 4, don't turn down a loan based on prior forfeits. Take time to look at what they've previously forfeited. Ask about reactivating any forfeited loans. And loan based on your customer, not the merchandise. Your qualification determines how much money we will make and how fast we will make that money. So who could tell me what NEHA stands for? That's right, needs, emotional attachment, history, and ability and willingness to repay. First, the end. Determine your customer's needs. Ask how much do you need and what do you need the money for. E. Determine the customer's emotional attachment to the item. Did the customer buy the item at a garage sale or was it a gift from a special someone? H. Determine the customer's history. Take the time to read the history in the computer correctly. Does this customer typically pick up their loans? Are all their loans current? Do they have 6 active loans in 2 weeks with no payment? Are there signs that they may not be able to pay back the loans? And the A is the customer's ability and willingness to repay the loan. Does the customer want to pay off the pawn, and do they have a job or other means to pay off the loan? Let's recap our phone etiquette and how to make every call count. Smile while you talk on the phone. This will keep you positive and upbeat. When calling customers, do not leave voice messages on voicemail. Do not give any information to anyone other than the customer, and as always, thank the customer and tell them that you look forward to seeing them. And with the theme of making every customer interaction count, our next webinar series will be on the power and purpose of Podium. This tool is a game changer. We need to embrace technology so that we can reach a whole new audience. Let customers know that they can send us a picture of their items over text for an accurate range. I'd like to end our PLO growth series by reminding everyone that healthy PLO growth starts with you. Are you the best in the world at understanding PLO? And once again, I'd like to thank everyone for listening to another edition of our weekly webinar series. I am your host, Michael Gerardo. Let's make this loan season count.